कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट काम कैसे करता है?
You will be surprised to know in the last 3 years, Indian companies have taken more office space than multinational companies.
Really?
Key business districts have very limited supply of office space.
With Trump coming in, why is India office space in huge demand, but वहाँ पे office space खाली होते जा रहे हैं?
कहते हैं ना कि वर्ल्ड में सिर्फ और सिर्फ पानी स्केर्स नहीं है, जमीन स्केर्स है. इसका आंसर सिंपल सप्लाई एंड डिमांड है.
रिस्क ज्यादा होता है. Would you agree?
You don't put all your eggs in the same basket. You have to educate that uncle. You have to be in it for 10 years.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Real Better Podcast. जहां हम आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कराते हैं टू द रियल एस्टेट हीरोज एंड एक्सपर्ट्स और एजुकेट करते हैं रियल एस्टेट इंडस्ट्री के बारे में. हमारा मिशन है टू प्रूव टू यू माय बिलीफ दैट रियल एस्टेट हमेशा से सही था, सही है और हमेशा सही रहेगा. हमारे एपिसोड में आज एक नहीं बल्कि 2 गेस्ट हैं. ये दोनों पार्टनर्स भी हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा डियर फ्रेंड्स भी. सो वेलकम मिस्टर सिमरनप्रीत सिंह एंड दमनप्रीत सिंह, जो कि जाने जाते हैं अपनी कॉर्पोरेट लीजिंग में एक्सपर्टीज के लिए. ये वन ऑफ द टॉप 3 कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट लीडर्स में से एक हैं. विद द एक्सपर्टीज ऑफ सर्विंग ओवर 700+ क्लाइंट्स एंड कॉर्पोरेट, their knowledge in office space and commercial investment is worth listening to. I am very excited today, so let's learn. Hi Simran and Daman, welcome to my podcast. You know, हम लोग एक दूसरे को इतने टाइम से जानते हैं. आई थिंक हमारी रियल एस्टेट जर्नी भी एक साथ ही शुरू हुई थी. 2009 इज व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड. आई थिंक 2009 में आप लोगों ने भी स्टार्ट किया था. एंड यू गाइज हैव डन अ अमेजिंग जॉब इन लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स इन द कमर्शियल एंड ऑफिस स्पेस बिल्डिंग. तो आज की जो कॉन्वर्जेशन है, मैं आप लोगों से सीखना चाहता हूँ, समझना चाहता हूँ दैट ये कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट काम कैसे करता है, एंड अभी कोविड आने के बाद क्या क्या चेंजेस हुए हैं, एंड रेजिडेंशियल जिस तेज़ी से बढ़ रहा है उस तेज़ी से अभी कमर्शियल नहीं बढ़ रहा. सो दिस इज़ ऑल वी वांट टू डिस्कस टुडे. आई वांट टू पिक योर ब्रेन्स कि आगे फ्यूचर कैसा दिख रहा है कमर्शियल के बारे में भी. सो वेलकम टू माई पॉडकास्ट. सबसे पहले तो वेलकम यू बोथ.
थैंक यू गौरव फॉर इन्वाइटिंग अस.
नहीं, इट्स माई प्लेजर सर. आप दोनों ने टाइम निकाला.
प्लेजर इज आवर्स.
आप दोनों की मेरे को जर्नी से स्टार्ट करते हैं. यू नो, व्हेन आई फर्स्ट मेट यू बोथ, मेरे को ऐसा लगा था शायद आप दोनों ब्रदर्स हो, क्योंकि दोनों दिखते भी एक जैसे हो, लंबे चौड़े. आज हम 3 पंजाबी बैठे हैं और पॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं. सो आई वांटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आप दोनों कैसे मिले, आप दोनों की जर्नी कैसे स्टार्ट हुई. आई नो यू, आप यूके में भी थे, मैं भी उस टाइम यूके में था
जी.
and then you met Daman and you planned to start this business. तो थोड़ा सा जर्नी से स्टार्ट करते हैं.
So I'll just add few points where you left, Gaurav. वो पार्ट आपका बिल्कुल ठीक है that we were together in UK. We've studied.
अच्छा.
Both of us have studied together in England, Leeds.
अच्छा.
उसके बाद we had our professional stint in bank. Okay. Both of us. So he came back and joined ICICI Bank, and I was part of Halifax Bank of Scotland in England only.
Oh, अच्छा.
2005 when I came back, he came back before me. When I came back, I was part of another startup, which was a reality startup.
Yeah.
Which was, they were very far and few at that time.
Yeah.
Right. 2009 is when we decided to collaborate and do this together. So that is when he quit his ICICI Bank and I quit my thing, and then we founded True Seed.
उस टाइम स्टार्टिंग से ऑफिस स्पेस से स्टार्ट किया या ऑफिस स्पेस लेटर आया, कमर्शियल लेटर आया?
It was one of the main verticals through and through.
अच्छा.
Yeah. Because if we see real estate, Gaurav, there are 2 paths, right? Either you would go for annuity based real estate, which is commercial, and now warehousing, or you would go for growth, which is more in case of residential,
like appreciation.
Yeah, capital appreciation, right? Capital appreciation sometimes is little speculative in nature as well.
Yeah.
That ये मुझे एरिया पसंद आ रहा है और ये एरिया ग्रो होगा.
किसी को नहीं पता.
हो सकता है और होता भी है, right? Because India has been growing fantastically well and Gurgaon is also doing relatively very, very well. But commercial real estate is always very, very, very closely linked to the growth in the economy.
Okay.
So it is not speculative. It is always based on real demand, real supply. Because for an example, whenever we have done 700 plus offices in Gurgaon, and more or less, whenever we are about to deliver the key, जो भी team, जिसने भी office लिया, whichever company it is, they have a movement plan which is next day.
अच्छा, बिल्कुल
अगर
तैयार
आपने
होते हैं।
600 लोग का ऑफिस बना के दिया तो उन्हें पता है हमने 600 लोग परसों यहाँ पे कैसे लाने हैं. So it tells you how closely it is linked, and it is not something in future. Once it's delivered, it is not speculative. It is going to get used on that day only.
Same day.
On the same day. Hence, commercial real estate has been very, very close because it is real demand and supply, and you can always, peg against it.
You get the pulse of the economy. See, when COVID happened, and this is what we were discussing in the morning also, everybody thought that commercial real estate is gone, and now it's finished. Nothing, you can salvage nothing, whatever you have, because now work from home will come, people won't go to offices. All those things were there. And 2020 and 2021 were a little tough for us also, because the continuity of the rental, it was quite erratic. Also, the clients or the tenants were, quite apprehensive coming in, and the real estate prices also went down for the leasing.
For commercial,
commercial real estate, leasing rates went down. But eventually, when people realize that, they are in the same environment, most of the people in Gurgaon are staying in a 3 BHK or a 4 BHK. And, day in, day out, this is the routine. By nature, we are meant to be outdoors. We are meant to go out. It is very difficult for anybody to be caged inside and say that, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 you'll do in the same home. In the same home, you will eat. In the same home, you'll entertain your family. In the same home, you'll be attending your office. And then when work from home happened, a lot of boundaries broke. Because the expectation from the employees was that it's no longer 9 to 5. यार तू घर पे ही है ना, चले कि ये प्रेजेंटेशन के ऊपर कर दे, चल ये बुलेट पॉइंट्स यहाँ कर दे, चले रिसर्च कर दे, चले सॉफ्टवेयर पे इतना और कर दे.
हुआ क्या, वर्क फ्रॉम होम होने के बाद और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एम्प्लॉइज की बढ़
increased.
गई, उनका काम बढ़ गया.
Even the time, the total time at work has also increased.
रात को 11 बजे तक, 12 बजे तक टेक लोग काम कर रहे हैं.
People worked. So it is like आज की डेट में workspace is quite flexible, right? It is quite adaptive. A lot of companies realize this, that when they need growth, they have to have those like-minded people together for that kind of growth. You can't have 20 people sitting at 20 different places and you plan for growth. You can sustain very well. Let's say somebody has a company wherein it is primarily about maintenance or about, basic development. That company will do very well. But a company looking for growth, a company looking for innovation or collaboration, they want those people together. And a lot of companies, a lot of people started realizing that. When they started realizing that, that was the time they came back to the offices. Now, at that point of time, something different happened. People thought that, because we have to stay in the house, so we need to have bigger and better houses. So the residential real estate, it went up and it's still going up like the way we see. And at the same time, people thought that if the residential real estate is such, most of the developers also started constructing residential apartments and residential units. Most of the people went into the residential line. But right now, the scenario is such that there is a very, very limited supply of grade A office space in Gurgaon. So today, if somebody does a very good grade A office space in the key business districts of Gurgaon, it will do very well.
All of a sudden हुआ क्या कि रेजिडेंशियल की सप्लाई अब बहुत ज्यादा हो गई और कमर्शियल क्योंकि किसी ने सोचा ही नहीं और जैसे हम सुबह भी बात कर रहे थे, भेड़ चाल बहुत है हिंदुस्तान के अंदर.
बिल्कुल.
तो कमर्शियल में किसी ने ध्यान नहीं दिया, तो आज ऐसा सिनेरियो पे हम आके खड़े हो गए जब कमर्शियल की डिमांड है और सप्लाई नहीं है. और रेजिडेंशियल की सप्लाई बहुत ज्यादा हो गई और डिमांड धीरे धीरे कम होती जा रही है.
In next 4 to 5 years, now, at least 10,000 more units, residential units, are getting added in Delhi NCR.
Yeah, agree.
Whereas key business districts have very, very limited supply of office space.
अच्छा.
Right? Plus, what DP was mentioning, I would add another point. A lot of companies were not able to innovate when they were in work from home scenario. That
Okay.
was also a limitation.
Yeah.
So most of the companies realized you can run a process, a repetitive process which is already in place, which is very, very well established from home. But if you have to innovate and get new process, new systems in, you would need to have that office for all the people to collaborate in that office.
Yeah.
Hence, they started calling people back. Moonlighting was another issue, which we all know about, which is very well spoken about, right?
हुआ क्या था, कंपनीज को अगर हम बैलेंस शीट में देखें तो अगर उनको रेंट नहीं देना पड़े तो उनकी काफी कॉस्ट सेव होती है. तो एक टाइम ऐसा लग रहा था कि शायद वर्क फ्रॉम होम परमानेंट हो जाएगा, बिकॉज कंपनी की कॉस्ट काफी सेव हो जाएगी, उनके रेंट सेव हो जाएंगे, उनके ऑफिस एक्सपेंसेस, एडमिन कॉस्ट सारी की सारी खत्म हो जाएगी, एंड प्रोडक्टिविटी भी एम्प्लॉयज की उस टाइम बड़ी थी. तो ऐसा लगता था शायद ये परमानेंट हो जाएगा. और ऑफिस और रिटेल, अगर हम रिटेल की भी बात करें तो ऐसा लगता था कि सारी की सारी शॉपिंग अमेजोन पे चली जाएगी एंड रिटेल जो है परमानेंटली बंद हो जाएगा, मॉल जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. बट व्हाट एवरीबॉडी रियलाइज दैट वी ह्यूमंस आर सोशल एनिमल्स. हम घर रह ही नहीं सकते.
अगर आप ये सोचो कि सिर्फ घर पे somebody is at home 24 hours and is not interacting with anybody, is not going out, and all his needs are being met, so it is a very difficult scenario today to imagine.
Yeah.
Because people have lived through this, now they don't want to do it. They're saying, Nini, we need to go out. We need to go out to a mall. We need to shop. We need to watch a movie outside.
Yeah.
Yes, that facility is now available at their houses also. That if they want, they can work at home.
Yeah.
If they want, they can watch a movie at home. If they want, they can, call for something from Amazon. So both these segments are doing well now.
Okay.
So even if you talk about the retail side of things, although retail leasing has not grown exponentially.
Yeah.
That is again because of the reason that most of the malls which are centrally owned and operated and leased by a single entity, they do well.
Okay.
You look at any mall across the country, the number of ghost malls we have today is very high.
Yeah.
But all the malls which are operated, leased out and owned by a single entity, they do much better than a mall which has been strata sold.
Okay.
So that model will also change, and it has already changed. That the big developers are coming in, they are saying that we are no longer going to sell the mall space. We are going to build, like you see the Lulu Mall in Lucknow.
Yeah.
It is a huge property, completely owned and operated by Lulu owners.
Okay.
And they've got the best of tenants in, right? Best of brands in. Even if you look at Delhi, which are the best malls? You can name on your fingers that these 3-4 malls are the best.
Pacific Mall.
Pacific, Emporio, Promenade, and Ambience.
Yeah.
All these, none of these are
institutionally owned now.
Yeah.
Institutionally owned.
Yeah.
So that model has also changed. And eventually, the office space is also moving towards that now developers want that we do not strata, we don't sell in parts.
Okay.
Wherein a retail investor would want that we get a part. Because let's say to buy an entire building versus buying an office space, there's a difference. But a lot of developers are moving towards institutional sales completely and managing and building and owning the entire asset till the time it is leased out.
But ये चीज आप बता रहे हो, कहानी जो एजेंट्स बताते हैं या जो डेवलपर्स बताते हैं वो तो बड़ी डिफरेंट थी. जब पहले मॉल्स आते थे फॉर सेल, तब बोला जाता था कि आप शॉप में इन्वेस्ट करो, आपको इतना रेंटल मिलेगा, आप वर्चुअल स्पेसेस खरीद लो, आप फुल प्लेट का 500 स्क्वायर फीट खरीद लो. बट आज जैसे आपने बोला, ऑल ऑफ दोज आर घोस्ट मॉल्स. उसको चढ़ाने में फिर कल को बड़ी दिक्कत आती है.
Although there has been growth in number of brands which have come into India,
Yeah.
right? But do you think it is exceptionally high?
नहीं.
The number of new brands which have entered into India, I would not say they have not doubled in last 4 years.
नहीं.
Whereas now commercial real estate as well, we will have to segregate
Okay.
in two parts and discuss both separately.
ठीक है.
One is the retail end of it. So who's the occupant? All the brands which are there,
Brands.
whether they are, let's say F&B brands,
Yeah.
entertainment brands,
FMCG.
Shopping.
or shopping, clothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Appliances,
Yeah.
they have not doubled or they have not gone 3 times.
Yeah.
Hence, their choice, all these brands, their first option is always go to a mall which is centrally owned and centrally operated.
जहाँ पे फुटफॉल भी ज्यादा है.
Similar to what DP is saying.
Yeah.
So, DLF, Phoenix Mall,
Yeah.
right? Emporio, Select
Agree.
City Walk, all of these are institutional
Yeah.
malls, right?
Owned
They are
and
not
operated.
owned and operated. Hence, if a retail brand has entered and they have a special need, as a single unit owner, there is no way you can fulfill that
नहीं
special
हो
need.
सकता.
And all the retail brands which usually come in, they have some demands.
Yeah.
As the owner for the whole retail block, it is very easy for them to do it.
Yeah.
As a single owner, you won't be able to do it. Now talking on the office side.
Yeah.
Office side, all the companies, whether they are Indian companies or MNC companies,
Yeah.
are your potential takers.
बिल्कुल. स्टार्टअप्स भी हैं.
Startups bhi hain, lot of startups which are happening and
Yeah.
fantastic startups which are happening in India.
Yeah.
Bangalore, Pune, they are hotbeds of all these, even Gurgaon are hotbeds of all these
Hyderabad.
startups. Hyderabad, right? So all these are your potential takers. Usually office needs are office needs and all they need is some part of F&B within that building block.
Agree.
So there is no exceptional demand, right? All they want is a good office in a good block at a good location with ease of commute
Yeah.
and all the basic facilities, let's say internet and all that. But then all these guys are your potential takers.
बट आप ये बताओ, जैसे रिटेल के अंदर आपने कहा कि ब्रांड्स डबल नहीं हुए, तो क्या ऑफिस स्पेस में ब्रांड्स डबल हुए हैं या डबल से भी ज्यादा हो गए हैं?
So traditionally, let's say when DLF was set up and DLF made these corporate offices, they were primarily catering to the MNCs,
Okay.
multinationals, right? And most of the big business houses, the Tatas, the Birlas, the Reliances, were taking these large business offices, right?
बिल्कुल.
But you look at the number of new startups which have happened in our country since 2010,
Yeah.
probably 2014, once the government changed the make, they introduced Made in India, they introduced the startup wala thing.
Yeah.
So today, the number of people who are taking the office space, you will be surprised to know in the last 3 years, Indian companies have taken more office space than multinational companies.
Really?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's not saying that multinational growth is not happening in the country.
Yeah.
It is still happening. Companies are still wanting to come in India, set up shop. But the startups or the Indian companies which have grown, they need the office space more than these multinational companies do. Earlier, kya hota tha? You go back in the 80s, when the new companies came in, they wanted a collaborator, they wanted a local partner. Maruti collaborated with Suzuki, so on and so forth. But now, with the way the policies are there and ease of doing business is there, Gurgaon is on the world map, companies come and they realize that they can set up offices,
Yeah.
they can, start hiring people, they can set offices, and it will be easy to do business here.
Yeah. 100% FDI is also allowed.
It's
now.
allowed. So the ease of doing business has increased. We, in the last couple of years, we have given, office spaces to brands which are very well known across the world, but there it was the first office in India.
Okay.
And the way we also dealt, because we like to do a basic credit check of the client before giving them the office space, because if we are doing the capex, we are doing everything, we'd like to ensure that our rentals are on time,
बिल्कुल.
right? There is no default on the rental, so we do a basic health check to see whether they'll be able to pay or not. With these international companies, it becomes difficult because they have no past record. So then it helps us to understand what are they doing globally, and then we talk to the senior management. We understand what is the guy they've brought in to do that business, who's the hiree here. And then we take a call ki, yes, this company looks good. So off late, we have given it to a few Korean companies, German companies, Japanese companies, wherein they came, they set up an office on their own with no local help or support or collaboration. They set up an office. They also set up manufacturing units here.
अच्छा,
Yeah.
अपने आप से ही.
Correct. Without any local partner.
Okay. Okay.
So they hired employees only.
Yeah.
And their offices are doing well. And these kind of companies have grown. Multinationals keep on coming. Their growth is evident. And जो जितने भी startups हैं, they are also wanting to take more and more space. The golf course extension as a whole, you look at any building, you go and you check the nameplate, you will see more Indian companies than international companies.
But मेरा ऐसा मानना था, tell me if I'm right or wrong, कि startups आएंगे शायद smaller area लेंगे, 5,000 फुट 10,000 फुट. बट मैंने देखा है जब Google आता है, Facebook आता है, वो तो सीधा पूरी बिल्डिंग ले लेते हैं, 1-1 लाख स्क्वायर फीट.
Zomato has recently taken the full building.
अच्छा, Indian startups are also.
So a lot of Indian startups have taken full building.
ऐसा नहीं है गौरव, प्लस जो 5,000 10,000 वाला क्लाइंट भी है, अब इसको लेट्स कोरिलेट विद द इन्वेस्टमेंट.
Okay.
Let's say somebody has an appetite of investment of 5 crores and they want to invest in commercial real estate, they can. They will probably buy a 3,500 square feet office space and give it to a tenant.
Okay.
A lock and key office space of 3,500 will give them a very good tenant.
Okay. Okay.
And it's not key, that only if a tenant is taking 1 lakh square feet, it makes sense. No, 5,000 square feet le lo, 10 le lo, 3 le lo, 2 le lo. The change which has happened is in the smaller office space, that 1,500 square feet.
Okay.
That more and more is being done as a managed office or a co-working thing.
Okay. Okay.
Initially, what used to happen is that investors used to say कि let's buy 1,000 square feet or a 500 square feet का lock in की ले लो, यहाँ पे तो पक्का कोई ना कोई आ जाएगा. That trend has changed.
Okay.
Now the minimum investment or minimum office space a company wants to set up an independent shop or an independent office is around 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
And upwards. उससे जो नीचे का client है, they would want to go to a managed or a co-working office space and say that all are, they don't need to keep a PN.
Yeah.
They don't need to have a housekeeping. They don't need to have to worry about grocery. They don't need to worry about यार printer चल रहा है नहीं चल रहा है.
When you say
landline चल रहा है नहीं चल रहा है.
Manage, you mean all these co-working spaces?
Yeah, co-working spaces.
WeWork and all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
These are probably in the long term, they might not be very good. But let's say a startup is starting or a company is starting and they are unsure of how their revenues would be, how their growth would be. So that interim period of first 6 to 8 to 9 months, it is very good for them. It's quite healthy for them. And it's quite a norm that they'll be sitting in a business center or a co-working space. And after 7, 8, 9 months, when they realize that now we have a control over the entire thing and our costing will be better if we go to our own office.
Okay.
That is the time then they'll start looking for their own office. And usually most of the clients which come to us are like that.
But मेरा भी ऐसा मानना है और लोगों को भी ऐसा लगता है कि यार कमर्शियल स्पेस में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए एक एक्सपर्टीज चाहिए होती है. अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कोई इन्वेस्टर है जिसके पास प्रोबेबली आई वुड से 3 to 5 करोड़ की इन्वेस्टमेंट है, वुड यू सजेस्ट हिम एन ऑफिस स्पेस, या अभी तो जो ट्रेंड चल रहा है वो सब रेजिडेंशियल के पीछे ही भाग रहे हैं? लोगों को ऐसा लगता है रेजिडेंशियल में डिसीजन लेना इजी होता है and there's very less chance that you can go wrong, but commercial में risk ज्यादा होता है. Would you agree?
इसमें क्या है, we will have to understand the risk profiling of that person.
Okay.
No, also
And
risk is at both ends. Some of the residential calls can also go wrong, and some of the commercial calls can also go wrong.
Simran, इसके अंदर
Right?
my take is a little different. That before advising that person to invest in real estate, and that too commercial or residential, you have to see a smart investment banker should look is at the entire profile of that person. What is he doing? What are the other assets he has? And what is his risk taking capacity?
Okay.
Not that इसमें risky ज़्यादा या इसमें risky कम है. Other point is hedging. That you don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Most of the people who come to us as investors for the commercial area, it's not their first investment.
Okay.
It will not be that, I am now in 2-3 crore rupees and now I need to make money, I need to invest. पहला बंदा रेजिडेंशियल ही लेगा.
Okay.
रेजिडेंशियल ही लेगा और लेता भी वही है. यूजुअली द कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी इज इज थर्ड और अ फोर्थ परचेज.
Okay. जब 3 रेजिडेंशियल हो
या
जाते
2
हैं,
रेजिडेंशियल हो जाती है तो तीसरी या चौथी परचेज के लिए आता है बिकॉज ऑफ कंटिन्यूटी इन द रेंटल्स एंड हाई यील्ड्स.
Okay.
जो रेजिडेंशियल की यील्ड है सिर्फ इंडिया में नहीं, वर्ल्ड ओवर बेस्ट केस सिनेरियो 1 to 2% मिलती है ऑन अ गुड एसेट, जिसका अच्छा लोकेशन अच्छा है, अच्छी बनी हुई है, अच्छी ग्रोथ पर्सपेक्टिव है. कैपिटल अप्रिसिएशन अलग है. ये रेंटल यील्ड है मंथ ऑन मंथ, ईयर ऑन ईयर. कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट you can get between 6 to 8%.
Okay.
A good real estate you can get to 6 to 8%. So people who are looking at that level of return, they would want to invest in commercial real estate because isme you also get standard deduction for your depreciation on the assets and all, and then taxation is also a little lesser.
Okay.
So it makes sense for that person to invest in commercial. So the risk profiling of the person in question is very important. And it is not saying that one asset is risky or not. It is to understand what is the kind of overall assets they have and will this asset in their bouquet of assets make sense to them or not. Because that person might have a view of, let's say, 10 years and he's only looking at capital growth. He's saying I don't need monthly income. But after 10 years, this asset has to grow. Then probably you will suggest that you invest here. And somebody is saying, okay, capital appreciation jo hogi so hogi. I need every month, I need this money to come to
Fixed income.
So why it is risky is because of the tenant profile, because of the location of the building, and because of the releasability of the building. So when investing in commercial real estate, it's not very difficult. Rather, I would say, to invest in residential is a little more difficult because there are no price points. भाई अगर वो कह रहा है कि आज कैमिलियाज या मैग्नोलियाज या इतने का बिका, वेरी गुड, तो प्राइस पॉइंट चलो सेट हो गया, लेकिन व्हाट अबाउट द अदर कंडोमिनियम्स, व्हाट अबाउट द अदर रियल एस्टेट, दे डोंट हैव अ फिक्स्ड सेट प्राइस.
Okay.
कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट में टू टेक आउट द कैपिटल वैल्यू is very easy. All you have to do is look at the lease rentals in that area, in that building, and calculate the capital value.
Yeah, and with the current change happening, with the Blinkit and Zepto change happening, अब क्या आप घर बैठे हो, घर बैठे बैठे 5 से 7 मिनट में जो आपको चाहिए घर आ जाता है.
बिल्कुल.
तो अभी आपको क्या लगता है इन मॉल्स में क्या होने वाला है?
Malls will always stay.
See, जो डेस्टिनेशन की तरह बन गया मॉल.
डेस्टिनेशन है. आज एक जिसको भी एक outlet चाहिए on the weekend, you want to go and watch a movie and then eat food and everything, they would always be there. No matter, Zepto and all have their own space to work around, but malls will always be there.
Okay.
But जो DP अभी कह रहा था ना, इसमें भी कैश 22 है. कैश 22 ऐसे है कि आप उन्हीं मॉल्स जाते हो जहां पर आपके मतलब के ब्रांड्स हैं.
बिल्कुल.
राइट. एंड जहां फुटफॉल है, ब्रांड वहां आना चाहता है.
विशियस सर्कल बन गया.
सबसे पहले एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट क्या हो गया कि अच्छा रिटेलर को अट्रैक्ट करो कि अच्छा फुटफॉल बने.
बिल्कुल.
तो अच्छा रिटेलर विल कम विद देयर ओन सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एंड
एक्सपेक्टेशंस.
एज अ स्टैंड अलोन इन्वेस्टर फुलफिल करना मुश्किल हो जाता है.
Okay.
Because if you own the whole thing, for an example, you're talking to a certain anchor which is of a sizable footfall and revenue. आप उनसे कहते हो कि ठीक है मैं आपसे रेवेन्यू शेयर भी कर लूंगा. बट फॉर एन एग्जांपल अगर आपने 500 फुट आपका है उसके अंदर गौरव, आप कहेंगे यार मैं क्यों रेवेन्यू शेयर करूंगा. Why would I do it? I would need a fixed rental. But the brand will be hell bent. If it is owned by a single company, they would say attract him and we would load this particular rental on few other shops where we can.
Agree.
Right? And that is how it functions.
बट ऑफिस में भी तो ऐसे ही होता था. ऑफिस में भी तो पीछे वर्चुअल स्पेसेस भी बिकते थे. 500 स्क्वायर फीट के यूनिट्स बिकते थे. क्या होता है, एक स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर जब आता है स्पेशली गुड़गांव जैसी सिटी में, तो इफ दे हैव अ बजट ऑफ लेस देन 1 करोड़, तब उनको रेजिडेंशियल में तो कुछ मिलता ही नहीं है. देन दे आर फोर्स्ड टू कम टू कमर्शियल. जब कमर्शियल में भी आते हैं तब भी ऐसा लगता है कि आपको लॉकेबल स्पेस नहीं मिलेगा. देन लोग उनको सजेस्ट करते हैं कि आप वर्चुअल स्पेसेस ले लो या फूड कोर्ट ले लो, वर्चुअल ले लो.
See, as a company, we have never sold or bought virtual real estate.
Okay.
1,000 square feet we have bought multiple times, we have sold multiple times, and it's okay.
Lockable?
Lockable physical possession with registration.
Acha.
Absolutely critical for us that we will go and invest only in a place wherein these 3 criteria are met. If it is a virtual space, we will not invest in it.
कौन से 3 criteria हैं?
It should be, possession should be with us.
Okay.
It should be lockable.
Yeah.
And registration
should have, or the documentation should have simultaneous.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Not in future. If we are paying in current time, all these things should happen in current time. But I have a slightly different take on this, Gaurav. 1 crore वाले investor की expectation क्या है? What are you wanting out of your 1 crore?
बिल्कुल ठीक है.
समझना जरूरी है. मतलब 1 करोड़ लाए, चाहते क्या है, उसके रिटर्न में क्या चाहते हैं आप, राइट? इफ एक्सपेक्टेशन इज rental yield and you want to have your footprint on the commercial real estate, then आपको अगर वो वाला क्राइटेरिया, जैसे डीपी आपको कह रहे हैं कि आपको पोजेशनेबल एरिया नहीं मिल रहा और वर्चुअल है और सब कुछ, then it is better to go the REIT route.
अच्छा.
करेक्ट. या सो आपको ऑन एवरेज एनीवेयर 12-13-14% का यील्ड आ जाएगा.
ओके.
And you're part of bigger REIT which has multiple buildings and the risk is also in a way diversified.
But REIT अभी उतने पॉपुलर है नहीं इंडिया के
हो
अंदर.
जाएंगे, अभी नहीं है.
Eventually they will.
जो कस्टमर्स आते हैं ना, उनकी तो एक्सपेक्टेशन ये होती है कि यार मैं 1 करोड़ लगाऊं और वो 3 करोड़ 4 करोड़ हो जाए. बिकॉज रियल एस्टेट में जब लोग आते हैं तो यही कहानियां सुन के आते हैं कि गुड़गांव में एक प्लॉट लिया था 1 करोड़ का, जो आज 4 करोड़ का हो गया है. तो वो लगता है यार अब मैं लेट हो गया हूँ, बट मैं 1 करोड़ लगाऊं तो वो भी 3 या 4 करोड़ हो जाए. तो एक्सपेक्टेशन तो वही रहती है.
कोई भी एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया की ग्रोथ स्टोरी रहती है रियल एस्टेट की, वो ओवरनाइट नहीं हो रही है.
बिल्कुल.
वो पहली बात साइक्लिकल है. आप हम लोग सारे लोग देख रहे हैं लास्ट 4 साल से कि लास्ट 4 साल से कंटिन्यूली हर महीने हर 6 महीने बाद रेट ऊपर जा रहा है. बट यही आप 2012 में चले जाओ और 2012 से लेकर 2020 की स्टोरी देखो. 8 साल रेजिडेंशियल सेक्टर ऐसा था जहां पर जो रेट 2013 में था ना, वही 2019 में था.
एग्री.
रेट का डिफरेंशियल था ही नहीं.
और बीच में तो गिर भी गए थे. लेकिन जो रियल एस्टेट 2000, जो कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट 2012-13 में रेंट पे चढ़ी थी, और वो लेट से मैं कहता हूं उसका रेंट भी सेम रहा, उसका कैपिटल वैल्यू भी सेम रहा. Okay.
लेकिन अगर किसी ने वो 10 साल उसमें से रेंटल यील्ड निकाल ली और लेट से 7% यील्ड के हिसाब से 10 साल चले, तो 70-75% प्रॉपर्टी की वैल्यू तो उन्होंने निकाल ली ना.
नहीं, you're not factoring escalation in NDP.
I'm saying
so even if
same
there is a standard clause of 5% escalation annually or 15% in 3 years.
Yeah.
So if the tenant has stayed for 10 years and paid all the escalations as well, तो आपकी प्रॉपर्टी पे ऑफ हो जाती है 6 या 7 साल में.
फ्री हो जाती है प्रॉपर्टी.
हाँ जी.
ओके.
राइट. तो 6 या 7 साल में
7 साल में 9 years के आसपास इट विल टेक 9.5 years इट टेक्स. बट ओवरऑल जैसे रिस्क प्रोफाइलिंग की बात है, तो एक्सपेक्टेशन जिसकी भी है ना कि मेरे साल में हो जाए, 2 साल में हो जाए, इफ समबडी हैज अ 10-year horizon, it might be possible. Why not? Because the way things are growing, if you put in money in the upcoming sectors and you believe कि वहां पर उस तरफ से population जिस तरह से बढ़ ही रही है, and इस समय incoming migration from other cities बहुत high है, there is a probability. But if somebody comes with a view that I need to invest for 3 years या only 2 years या 6 महीने में मेरे को बाहर कर दो, that is very difficult, and that is an unrealistic expectation
and risky,
which a lot of brokers do get into that because of their own agendas behind it. But as a thumb rule, if somebody is coming in real estate, you have to educate that uncle, you have to be in it for 10 years to really get the juice out of it.
At least 5 years. 4 to 5 year horizon you have to have if you're entering real estate.
Okay. एंड अभी एक नया ट्रेंड आजकल बड़ा सुनने में आ रहा है लास्ट 2-3 इयर्स से, विच इज वेयर हाउसिंग. इंडिया ग्रोथ स्टोरी की जब हम बात करते हैं तो एवरीबडी इज नाउ आफ्टर वेयर हाउसिंग. जितने भी बिग प्लेयर्स हैं वो वेयर हाउसिंग की तरफ काफी बढ़ रहे हैं. एंड आई नो आपका भी काफी एक्सपीरियंस है, तो व्हाट ट्रेंड्स आर यू सीइंग इन वेयर हाउसिंग एंड हाउ डू यू सी कि अगले 5-7 साल में कैसे होने वाला है?
इंडिया जैसे मोदी जी ने कहा कि हम 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी हो जाएंगे.
यस.
जो वी आर working towards it, the complete nation is working towards it. Out of 5 trillion, let's chalk out few big sectors which will contribute to that 5 trillion.
Yeah.
So infra development being one.
Yeah, number one.
Right. So the roads will have to happen, the ports have to happen, everything infra related, heavy infra is to be built.
Airports,
airports,
highways.
everything is to be built, right? And we all have to ramp up towards that.
Yeah.
Number 2, I would say the real estate industry is a very, very big contributor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? To that 5 trillion. IT companies, manufacturing, right? Once the spending power and all these industries have to function, they have to work out of certain areas.
Yeah.
Right? And it has to be organized. It can't go on like the old school कि कुछ सामान कहीं है और कुछ सामान कहीं और है. आज फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल Amazon आपको सिंगल डे 4 hour डिलीवरी, या फिर मैं ब्लिंकिट का तो थोड़ा डिफरेंट फॉर्मेट है. ब्लिंकिट वगैरह हैव देयर सेंट्रल बिग वेयर हाउसेस एंड डार्क स्टोर्स which are within 5 kilometer radius of wherever you're living.
Yeah.
But obviously those dark stores are getting feeded from certain big warehouses as well.
Okay.
All the manufacturing which will have to happen, you will have to save the raw material and also the finished goods somewhere. Right?
Walmart and all जितनी भी companies आ रही हैं, they are all attached to warehousing.
Warehousing requirement is not only by IT, it is by manufacturing, it is by infra, it is by FMCG, it is by almost anybody who's manufacturing or in infra or even in IT today. So you're talking about that this is not a new trend, by the way. Warehousing has been there for for long years, right? But the grade A warehousing story has started 5 years back.
Okay.
See, today India is on a world stage and we are competing with the best of best. We are saying that we have to be a developed country. So for us to be a developed country, our infra has to be of that level. Our manufacturing sector has to be of that level. Now you can't expect that after manufacturing something very fancy that goes in a godown. Usually people when they come to us, they also say, "Hum to godown chahiye." We don't do godowns. We now do a grade A warehouse structure.
So all these multinational companies, all these Apple manufacturing,
and they would not want their stuff to be stored in a godown.
Yeah, agree.
They would want something with A-grade security.
Old godowns, some of them are not even fire compliant.
Okay.
And the cost of a container of Apple products can be upwards of let's say 12-13 crore तक भी हो सकता है. A single 40 feet Apple container.
एक container.
Correct. So अगर वो 1 lakh square feet की space है, imagine the quantum of material which is getting stored.
Yeah.
So they would want it to be fully compliant with all facilities which are possible. Okay. That being one. The other side is, for an example, just in time, JIT. आज सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल मैं कहूंगा ये Zepto, Blinkit और JIT. आप ऐप में पंच करते हैं and वो if it is not organized to a certain level, they would not be able to fulfill the value chain.
Yeah.
Single day delivery by Amazon is another example. If they have to deliver, they have to know how it is getting stored and how it would be shipped and where it is stored.
पूरा
supply chain management
पूरा automized होना है.
Yeah.
तो वो तो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बिग स्पेसेस में ही हो सकता है. Hence the trend.
Warehousing का इस समय hotbeds, Chennai has always been there, Mumbai has been there, Pune has been there, Hyderabad is coming up, Kolkata is coming up.
अच्छा.
Delhi NCR, obviously with the kind of population we have and the kind of demand we have, but now it is the same is being spread to tier 2 also. And the biggest challenge in a warehousing transaction, you'll be surprised to know, is not building the warehouse or not leasing the warehouse. It is in finding the land.
Land consolidation.
is the land consolidation for that grade A warehouse structure. Because see, today a lot of funds are coming from abroad and they want to invest either in a commercial real estate wherein they get higher yield, or they want to invest in a warehousing or a grade A logistic park. Now understand this, Godrej is Godrej today because of what? Because of the massive real estate they have in Mumbai.
Okay.
Right? Similarly, other industrialists who had 100 acres of land as an industry, today they are converting it to a township and cutting out residential, commercial, XYZ and making money there. So these large funds, when they come, they see that there is an underlying land. On this land, there is a box or there is a warehouse being done, which has a 40-year life. So even after, let's say they're buying it at a 7.5% yield, the entire asset pays for itself within 10-11 years. After that, they enjoy those rentals for that whatever time. And then the value of land. कहते हैं ना कि वर्ल्ड में सिर्फ और सिर्फ पानी स्केर्स नहीं है, जमीन स्केर्स है.
बिल्कुल.
जमीन कम है, पानी तो बहुत है. तो जो वो लैंड की वैल्यू बन जाती है आफ्टर दोस, बिकॉज दीज पीपल हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ विजन. हम लोग तो 3 साल में हमें पैसे डबल चाहिए या हमें 2 साल में पैसे डबल चाहिए, लेकिन इन लोगों का विजन बहुत लॉन्ग है. That they will buy something, they will enjoy those rentals, and after that they'll say, when we have that 50-acre, 100-acre park, at that point of time, growth कैसी होती है? या तो बिल्डिंग ऊपर जाती है, या शहर ऐसे बढ़ता है या ऐसे बढ़ता है. तो शहर जब ऐसे बढ़ रहा है, और जब when that 100-acre logistic park was at the fag end of the city, now is suddenly within the city. The value of that land is, that growth is exponential. So a lot of funds who want to come in, they want to say that we will not invest at something which is less than 25 acres. It actually used to be 1 million square feet, but now they are still considering something which is at around 25 acres. So somebody who's buying or consolidating that 25 acres and then spending the money for a grade A warehouse structure will not want to do a grade B, grade C structure anymore. Because they would want to attract that kind of tenants who pay on time, and that person is able to flip it to a fund wherein that money is coming on time and the underlying value of the real estate is there. So overall, in the entire ecosystem, it becomes an excellent investment. In fact, बहुत सारी जो offices हैं, the home offices, a lot of industrialists, they want to buy an entire logistic park as their personal portfolio. They're saying, no, we don't want to buy a fancy condo, or we don't want to buy a holiday home. You get us a good logistic park, we will buy, whether it is whatever the value is, 100, 200, 300, 500 crore. They'll want to put in money there and enjoy those rentals.
मैं उस दिन पढ़ रहा था कहीं पे कि इंडिया का जो सबसे बड़ा लैंड ओनर है, that is the Indian government and military. But the second largest now has become BlackRock. अगर आपने भी इसको पढ़ा हो, तो BlackRock is buying land in India and they
are buying land through the warehousing route.
They're buying through warehousing, through malls. They're even buying schools, hospital, any place which is giving a rental yield, they are buying, and they have now become India's second largest landowners. क्योंकि US से जब ये लोग पैसा लेकर आते हैं, तो US में जो रिटर्न है वो बहुत ही कम है. कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स बहुत कम है, एंड ऑल्सो रेंटल यील्ड भी उतनी नहीं है,
करेक्ट,
जितनी उनको यहाँ मिल जाती है. तो लाइक यू वर सेइंग 6 to 8% इज अनहर्ड इन यूएस.
एब्सोल्युटली.
तो उनका कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड बहुत कम है, एंड दे आर कमिंग इन, दे आर बाइंग लैंड लाइक एनीथिंग. कोई भी अच्छा मॉल आता है खरीदो.
इट इज वेरी वेरी हाईली सिक्योर्ड एज वेल. गौरव, आप ये सोचो, अंडरलाइंग एसेट is still land, and the structure as well is the steel structure. Both of the items,
मतलब very long life.
Construction में major constituent क्या है? In warehousing, 70% of the cost of construction, 60 से 70% is going towards the steel, which has got a huge salvage value. And underlying asset is land. तो yield तो जो आया ही आया, 25-30 साल 40 साल आपने यील्ड कमाया, सिटी बाउंड्रीज एक्सपैंड हो गए, लैंड अभी भी आपके पास है, 40 साल बाद आप इसे कन्वर्ट करा लीजिए.
तब तक प्राइस भी 40 गुना हो चुके होते
कुछ भी हो गया होगा.
आप 40 आप शायद कम कह रहे हैं.
कॉस्ट ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन जो आप बता रहे हो, यहाँ पर लेट्स से आज हम ग्रेड ए स्ट्रक्चर की 2,000 रुपए की कॉस्ट मानते हैं स्क्वायर फीट की. I was in the UK last month, and then my brother-in-law is an architect there.
Yeah.
And he does logistic park in UK.
Oh wow.
Right? And he constructs them, advises them, consults them on that only. And he's done a lot of logistic park. So we were just discussing notes as to what is the cost of construction. The cost of construction there varies between 120 to 150 pounds.
Wow.
Which is, in our monetary terms, 13,000 to 16,000 rupees. And the rentals are also not that high.
Yeah.
So the yield which they get on their assets and the yield which we get on our assets, why won't a BlackRock or a Blackstone want to come to India?
Yeah.
Because the yield which they get here, and they see that the kind of population explosion which is happening, it's not happening anywhere. बाकी जगह तो इतनी rising population है ही नहीं.
Yeah.
वो immigrant population जो बन रही है, but उनकी अपनी population थोड़ा ना बन रही है.
Agree.
They plan it in a manner that the rentals offset the taxes, and the entire asset is paying off it itself in 10 to 11 years. It's a beautiful, smart move by them.
बट एक चीज बड़ी स्ट्रेंज है. इंडिया के अंदर आपने बताया कि ऑफिस स्पेस ग्रो कर रही है, इंडिया के अंदर डिमांड ग्रो कर रही है. बट आई वाज रीडिंग फ्यू डेज बैक दैट यूएस के अंदर जो ऑफिस स्पेस है वो काफी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं, एंड कमर्शियल भी जो है काफी स्ट्रगल कर रहा है. अभी वॉरेन बुफे का भी थोड़े दिन पहले ट्वीट आया था दैट कमर्शियल इज स्ट्रगलिंग एंड द ग्रोथ इज नॉट हैपनिंग इन द ऑफिस स्पेस. तो वहां पे आपको क्या ट्रेंड दिख रहा है? इवन विद ट्रम्प कमिंग इन, व्हाई इज इंडिया ऑफिस स्पेस इज इन ह्यूज डिमांड बट वहां पे ऑफिस स्पेस खाली होते जा रहे हैं?
Supply demand is the answer to your question.
Okay.
Now, जैसे हम लोग बात कर रहे थे ना, 2020 में बहुत सारे डेवलपर्स जो हैं उन्होंने अपना इंटायर पोर्टफोलियो या तो रेजिडेंशियल कर लिया या मॉल्स कर लिया, बिकॉज वहां पे उनकी यील्ड बेटर आती थी.
Yeah.
सो आज की डेट में इसका आंसर सिंपल सप्लाई एंड डिमांड है.
Okay.
A lot of areas in the US, although see we have not operated in the US market, so we are nobody to make a comment on that. It is from what we are seeing. Okay. वहां पर शायद सप्लाई ज्यादा है, डिमांड उतनी नहीं है.
Okay.
लेकिन अगर आप गुड़गांव जैसी जगह आओगे या फॉर अ मिनट आप मुंबई जाओगे या आप पुणे जाओगे या कुछ अच्छे एरियाज हैदराबाद या बेंगलोर के जाओगे, तो यहाँ पर राइट नाउ उतनी सप्लाई नहीं है जितनी डिमांड है.
Okay.
प्लस एंड मैं माइक्रो लेवल पे बात कर रहा हूँ. आप फुट मैपिंग,
Yeah.
दैट वी गो एंड वी स्टार्ट वॉकिंग ऑन द गोल्फ कोर्स रोड. On the left, which all building will come? The building which the Hero Group has taken is coming up.
Yeah.
आगे जाते हो, Camellias आ गए, Magnolias आ गए. Then you go ahead. Then there is Palm Spring Plaza. Then you go ahead. There is a Vatica की building. Then you go. There is an Ocus की building. Then there is another building by Paras. Then there is Sun City की
Sun
building.
City.
Then there is no commercial building. Then you have to come take a U-turn. And then when you do a foot mapping, you realize कि all these buildings have been there for long.
Yeah.
They've been tenanted out for long. 90-95% of these buildings are tenanted. So there is no new supply on this road. Similarly, when you go on the golf course extension road, you will realize that all the good office spaces are either built up and taken. So agar let's say I want to set up a 25,000 square feet office today, A grade office space on golf course extension, where do I get it? It's a big challenge.
Choice ही नहीं है.
It's a big challenge.
So you're saying that probably in US,
Yeah.
they have already built the office spaces, but उतनी demand नहीं आई जैसे चाइना में भी
Plus,
हमने देखा.
इंडियन इकोनॉमी द वे इट इज ग्रोइंग,
Yeah.
हमारी डिमांड सिर्फ अब बाहर की कंपनीज पे
डिपेंडेंट नहीं है.
डिपेंडेंट नहीं
Oh,
है.
okay.
In-house
Yes, they are one of the potential takers,
Okay.
but then we have homegrown companies, we have manufacturing companies. Lot of manufacturing is also happening.
Yeah.
So when the manufacturing is happening, they would also want an office space.
Okay. Okay. So एक ये नया सेक्शन हमने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है. इट इज फन एंड इंफॉर्मेटिव. इसमें ना हम आपको एक टाइम मशीन वाले क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे और आपको टाइम मशीन के थ्रू आंसर करना है विद ऑल योर एक्सपीरियंस, विद ऑल योर एक्सपर्टीज. एंड ये कुछ प्रॉप्स हैं आप लोगों के लिए. आप ये ले लो एक बारी अपने अपने हाथ में और आपको इसमें से देख के बताना है जो भी क्वेश्चन है उसका आपको कैसा लग रहा है. ठीक है. सो एक बारी आपको ये टाइम मशीन के थ्रू देख के बताना है.
अच्छा.
आई होप इतना इजी होता.
आपकी रियल एस्टेट की वैल्यू हो ना हो, अगर ये सही बता दिया ना, ये बड़े महंगे बिकेंगे.
सो हमारा जो क्वेश्चन है वो ये है कि 2050 में 2050 की बात कर रहे हैं हम, आपको क्या लग रहा है गुड़गांव उस टाइम कैसा दिख रहा है? एंड अगर हम गोल्फ कोर्स रोड की बात करें या गोल्फ कोर्स एक्सटेंशन की बात करें, तो वन बाय वन आपको क्या लग रहा है गुड़गांव और गोल्फ कोर्स रोड और गोल्फ कोर्स एक्सटेंशन कैसी दिख रही होगी 2050 के अंदर?
I see all of this region and any other metro highly developed.
अच्छा,
मेरे को तो देखना पड़ेगा इसके लिए. मुझे नहीं ऐसा दिख रहा.
आपको क्या दिखा?
मैंने एक झलक तो ली है.
डेवलप्ड है?
हाँ, काफी डेवलप्ड.
There you go.
so what do you mean by developed? कैसे, मतलब
There would be new fresher mode of transports.
अच्छा,
Right?
I think autonomous vehicle की जो ये बात कर रहे हैं, it can become a reality because the way, who thought the way Google Maps today operates, it is fantastic.
yeah,
You will get the exact information that you will reach within so much time.
yeah,
तो अगर इतना हमने एल्गोरिदम या इन लोगों ने इतना जबरदस्त तरीके से पकड़ लिया है, तो autonomous driving, which is the driverless cars, should become a reality. बाकी तो टाइम बताएगा, but they should become a reality. And similarly जो Internet of Things है, which is the IoT, I believe even आज भी हो गया है, लेकिन it will start becoming better. That you walk in, there is a sensor, biometric reading is there. You walk into the office, the gates will open because they realize that you are there, either through facial recognition or through your voice. You go to your seat, your laptop boots on its own.
yeah.
These changes. In fact, हम 2050 की बात कर रहे हैं. I will not be surprised that these things are a norm, because in a lot of offices we do, IoT is already there, that biometric scanning is already happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And next 25 years में 2050 के अंदर आपको क्या लग रहा है ऑफिस कैसे होंगे?
जैसे अभी थोड़े टाइम से कार्बन फुटप्रिंट मैपिंग ऑन ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. राइट नाउ अगर आप एयरलाइन भी सर्च करते हैं तो उसकी एक एमिशन रेटिंग अलग से आ रही है.
Yeah.
Few years back we visited one of the buildings where in peak summers the ambient temperature inside
the building
was and they've only run air conditioning 1.5 hour in the morning, and it is already 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Peak
it is
summers,
still
June.
peak summers में ये अभी भी 22 डिग्री मेंटेन कर रहे थे
Wow, without air conditioning.
without air conditioning.
green building.
Wow. ये
Right.
दिल्ली NCR में?
हाँ जी,
हाँ.
दिल्ली NCR में they were doing some research how they were running cold water pipes and the pipes throughout the surface and
Wow.
through the walls,
Oh, excellent.
and the whole building was generating its own electricity as well.
Wow.
All the facades were also covered with certain level of translucency inside,
Yeah.
and they were also generating air, your electricity.
Wow.
They were net positive on the electricity consumption and they were supplying back.
Yeah.
So all these things will come into play, and ये buildings के ना office buildings के active components होंगे, not far.
Excellent.
These are not far away.
Amazing, Simran. Amazing, Daman. Thank you very much for coming. बहुत मजा आया.
Pleasure.
बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला. And we have to keep on meeting up. पिछली बारी ज्यादा गैप हो गया था, अब इतना गैप नहीं रखेंगे.
Sure.
Thank you very
Look
much for
forward to
coming.
seeing you more often.
Look forward.